Hello folks and welcome to the Plotcast podcast with me, Tom.
And Adolf Hitler.
We'll get to that scene. And this week I'll be summing up the house that Jack built in 53 phrases.
I'm not actually Adolf Hitler.
Well, we'll find out later. I'll jump straight into it with scene 1. I must confess, I now need a wee.
Nice.
So this is the opening of the movie where we just hear running water.
Yeah.
Which I instantly had to pause it and go have a wee because it just made me need to go. But it's our heroine, Matt Dillon, talking to, I think we find out later his name's Virgil.
Yeah.
And he's asking, they're going somewhere and they're asking if they can talk along the way. And he's saying that people often feel the need to confess on these journeys, but we don't know where they're going yet because it's just a black screen.
Yeah.
That brings us into scene 2, Bruce Campbell's red van of broken dreams and oh my Thurman.
Right, okay.
So there is a similarity between Matt Dillon and Bruce Campbell.
There's only one difference, in fact.
Yeah?
Matt Dillon can kind of act.
Oh,
I know,
that is fair. It
is a fair comment because I love Bruce Campbell.
He does act with his chin.
More than life. Yeah, but he's one of those actors that
He's a cartoon.
is himself, basically.
He's a cartoon
he's him
dog.
in a film now. Like
Yeah,
so some actors are just themselves when you're watching them. It's they can't be a character. It is Christopher Walken is this guy as Christopher Walken in this film. He's not doing like a Texan accent or he's not trying to be Dutch or anything. He's just him. Whereas...
Although, if he did, we wouldn't recognise him probably. If he turned up doing a serious role with his hair all mopped down, we'd just be like, oh, he's just some guy.
Well, no, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, their personality
he's Bruce
outweighs that. So, yeah, he's Bruce Campbell and I love him.
I swear in about 5 films his name is just Bruce as well.
Yeah, much, but
yeah, so
either way, but he looks like a younger version. It's weird, it's spooky sometimes.
It is, but he's 54 years old, Matt Dillon.
He's doing well.
Good looking 54-year-old.
Good, yeah.
Sexy boy. Anyway, so the opening scene he looks a little bit like Bruce Campbell.
A little bit.
He's driving down the road in his little red van.
Postman Pat.
He's a Postman Pat van. And he pulls up across Uma Thurman. I didn't realise it was Uma Thurman at first.
She's getting on as well. But she, weirdly, not as well as Matt Dillon.
Not as well as Matt Dillon, but I think she's looking better with age.
Yeah,
I was never
a lot of them do, to be honest.
Yeah,
Weirdly.
I mean, she's no Gillian Anderson. But then, who is?
Gillian Anderson.
That is very true. And when she comes on the show, I shall be proud to meet her and shake her by the hand and kiss her in the mouth. What?
If she's here, I'll be coming on the show as well.
Anyway, he pulls up alongside her and she's broken down. There's a lot of kind of red symbolism going on here. She's got a red broken Jack. His name's Jack. The van's red. She might be wearing red, possibly on the period. I don't know.
Oh God.
But yeah, she basically asks for his help. He's a bit reluctant, but he says that he'll take her to see Sonny, who is a
blacksmith. Yeah, which I was like, okay, yeah, I'd say mechanic maybe would be a better shout.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has the idea that rather than sort the car out, they're going to weld the jack back together. Yeah,
which you already know is a bad idea. And who doesn't have a jack in a van as well?
Yeah, he totally had a jack.
Yeah. But this brings us on to scene 3. If this was an ice cream van, you have overstocked on Thixicles. Because she just begins to berate him and kind of imply that, if you were a serial killer, this would be a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Kind of this over-the-top exposition, which I couldn't really tell if it was meant to be meta or not. But I think she is just, and it's kind of alluded to later that, she's just meant to be a bit thick.
Yeah, I guess.
But she even said to him, that car jack would do a lot of damage in the back. Basically saying, why didn't you smash me in the face with it? But they trundle off down the road in the happy wagon into scene 4. How do you like your eggs done?
Nice.
Sunny side up with spark welding, please.
Spark weld.
So they're at Sonny the blacksmith, and he's repairing her car jack. But she's still being really annoying and demanding that he take her back to her car.
Yeah.
I don't know why he stuck around, to be honest.
Yeah, he should have just peeled off. But she says, she... Doesn't she beg him to take her back before she actually goes inside? I can't remember. I'm sure she...
It's whilst he's welding it. She's like, please take it back. Which leads us on to scene 5. Have a break. Should have had a Kit Kat. It's Jack trying to do the car jack, which has just been welded, which in turn snaps. Or... I think he says that he's got better things to be doing with his life than this. Which is a great line, because at this point he really does seem so despondent to help her. He just doesn't want to do it. But again, I think she kind of convinces him to, I think, take him into town this time, or take her back to Sonny's.
Back to Sonny's. Yeah.
Back to Sonny's again. Scene 6, the straw that broke the camel's face. She's back. She's up to her old tricks again. She's calling him a wimp this time, saying he could never do it. He could never be a murderer.
Yeah. And there's a bit where she even says, just before this maybe, that it'd be really stupid as well because now Sonny's seen her as them two together. And
that's
stuff.
right. Yeah. If you were a murderer, that's a bad thing to do because you could identify both of us together. But yeah, as soon as she calls him a wimp, he slams on the brakes and carjack in the face.
Yeah.
Which is really pleasing to watch because she was annoying.
Yeah.
It's never felt so justified in like the opening 10 minutes for someone to get killed.
Justified. I mean, I don't know. You can. Yeah. No, I feel you. She was super annoying.
And it also comes up before with this saying first incident, so you can assume that he's not done it before.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like,
it's all her.
It's kind of. She had to have been that much of an ass to make him just kill her like outright for no reason. But I liked the bluntness of that moment. It reminded me of the scene in Pan's Labyrinth.
With the bottle.
With the bottle, yeah. And possibly the fire extinguisher in Irreversible. And maybe the little girl getting shot in Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah, but that was just good.
But it was more, more Pan's Labyrinth because of the graphic nature of it. But it was that unexpected amount of violence so quick, like, the turn on the heel, just like bam.
It wasn't glamorous. It was just deadpan strikes to the face. But you only see one at first, and then you get.
But that's what I mean. It's that poof.
Then he cuts to black, and you get Virgil talking, and he does like a weird Yoda-esque line where he says, "You are a dangerous man." Smacked her with a jack, did you? But then he cuts back, and I think you see him hit her twice more, and she's got like a big gash in her face, and it's all cut open.
Great makeup on this fucking film.
I think it was only that point that I realised it was Uma Thurman. Which is when she was like all just dead in the passenger seat.
Her bloody face before.
Scene 7, story time on the verge of archways. So we get some awesome piano footage of Glenn Gould.
Yeah.
And Jack narrates that this is the greatest artist of our time. I think he says that. Yeah. And that this is where Virgil introduces himself. He's like he's got very Italian sounding. He's the guy that he's been talking to whilst all these acts are happening.
Yeah.
And then we just get some really awesome dialogue about archways and construction and architecture and how they were built, and some really great animation. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's all done in a weird kind of not full frame 4x3 old stock footage mixed with kind of rudimentary hand drawn animations, almost like blueprint style. And he's just going into great detail about the importance of archways and how they were built differently over different times. Yeah. But it kind of sets up his character perfectly as being this kind of guy who has to know everything about everything, and is a bit obsessive.
Yes.
Which leads us on to 2 OCD for Kevin MacLeod. So, if you don't know who Kevin MacLeod is, he does grand designs. That's what that'll fit in. So it's more dialogue of him sitting in his apartment, and he explains that he had a big inheritance. So that's how he gets all this money to fund all the things that he's doing. And he's an architect, but the question's asked whether he's an architect or an engineer. And this is where he explains his OCD, but we get them awesome scenes of him stood by his Valerie's car, and he's just holding up signs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we just got one that says OCD.
It's basically Bob Dylan from the video kind of thing.
That is exactly what it is, and I don't know why I didn't make that connection. What a fucking idiot!
Yeah, it's basically that. But what was I going to say? Yeah, the reason he asks him the difference or why he's an architect or whatever is because he's not only drawn the plans for it. So he's not only designed his house. He wants to build it himself as well.
Yeah, because he's made these little wood. I don't know what kind of wood it would be, but these little whittlings of structures.
Oh, well, they're cardboard.
They're cardboard.
Yeah. He's made models. Yeah. Very, very pristine models, but yeah, they're very nice.
But yeah, so he kind of explains that he's got OCD.
Yeah. And
he's saying that when he was little, he could never leave a room that wasn't spotless.
Yeah.
Although his study is quite messy, which annoyed me a little bit. that made my OCD go a little bit. Yeah. Which leads us to scene 9. All the Tino pizzas a corpse can eat. So he drives his little red van round to some alleyway where we have an abandoned walk-in freezer, but it's kind of explained that he must have bought it off a failed pizza place, but it's still got the pizzas in it.
Yeah. I think he said he tried to start a pizza business.
He said he tried to sell them. He said, I could never sell one. He said, I only had one of those pieces of shit. Bless you. But there's a door to another room in the freezer.
It's
got a red square around the window. And I think Virg kind of does he's talking about his actions at this point, and he calls him fucking neurotic with compulsions and a dream of something better.
Yeah.
And we see him. He goes to hide the evidence. He puts the car in the woods that she drove in on.
Yeah, because he bemoans the fact that you could still see it slightly from the road.
But it doesn't matter because it's just outside of police borders, so they won't bother about it.
So they don't care anyway. That's ridiculous.
But that's incident 1 out of the way. So scene 10, incident 2, the clumps. Mm-hmm. And this is where he's in his little red van and he's following a little old lady with a shopping cart. Well, what do they call a granny bag?
No, they're not called a granny bag.
That's what we call them over here.
That's what you call them, yeah.
Is there an official name for that kind of bag? It's like a suitcasey wheelie old lady trolley.
Yeah, it's a shopping. Oh, yeah. Shopping bag, I guess. I don't God know. Yeah, shopping. It's not. The thing is, if you say shopping trolley, you think of the big metal thing, don't you? Yeah. We all know what they are.
We know what they are. It's a granny bag. She got a granny bag.
They won't exist for long. The next generation aren't adopting those because they're all on Segways.
No, that's true. But they
always by their pugs.
They always bloody soy boys.
Yeah.
But they always turn up in charity shops, so they really are the original bag for life or for death. Not to lower the tone.
For the interim. Yeah.
But he's following her in his van in the stealthiest way possible. Because he's only like 2 yards away, but she doesn't ever turn around. But yeah, he follows her to the door. And this is where we see the big white cross in the distance. But there's a red door on her building.
Ah, okay.
Scene 11. Give him some sugar water. Maybe he'll piss off. I'll give you 10 points if you can get that reference. But the actress playing the woman
is the wife of Edgar from Men in Black.
Yeah, who gives him the sugar water.
Yeah. Who was the kingpin in the new season of The Daredevil.
Oh, it's Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah, Private Pile.
There we go.
He's not in this movie.
No.
But she is.
Well, yeah.
But this is the awesome scene where he just Billy bullshits at her for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. He starts by telling her he's a police officer. And
It's like, can I see your badge? No.
Why not? Because it's getting silverized.
That's
it's getting resoldered.
She's like, I'd like to see a police badge. He's like, so would I.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
But yeah, it's at the silversmiths, and she's like, so you got promotion? What are you now? He's like, not really meant to say. And he kind of looks around like, I think I'm going to be a detective or something like that. But you can kind of see him. He's looking at items. He's going Kaiser Soze style, and he's picking up things about her life from around her surroundings. So
he just sees the bag of shopping at the back, and he's like, "Oh, you shop at this place, don't you?"
Carlson's supermarket.
That's it.
Yeah, and they're trying to cut down on trouble at Carlson's or something.
Yeah.
But he also spots her husband in a picture on the railroad, something honouring 25 years of service or something. But once she kind of figures out that he's not a policeman. He just starts clapping and pretends that he's an insurance salesman.
Yeah.
And tells her that it's some rigmarole they have to go through.
Well, yeah, because
it's a security check. Yeah. Again, this woman is thick as shit.
Well, yeah, because he mentions something about being first when he's still sticking to his story of being a police officer. He says, "Oh, maybe I can call someone in the office and they can sort out your pension.
Double the pension."
Yeah. So that's all she hears and goes,
But my favourite bit in this is where someone drives past and beeps, and she's like, "Hi, Glenn," and he just turns around and goes, "Oh, hey, Glenn." He's like, "You know Glenn?" "Yeah, Glenn, sure."
Yeah. Yeah, he's fine.
Really funny. Anyway, she's an idiot and lets him in. Scene 12. Cup of tea, Mr. Murderer.
Yeah.
He starts mouthing off saying how embarrassing it is to be stood outside and going through all that. And she kind of agrees and goes, "Would you like some tea?" Instantly just pounces on her and strangles her.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, if she's only got Thai food, I can understand. If she had Twinings, she might have lived.
Maybe more of a coffee guy.
But then she kind of, maybe. But then she kind of wakes up and starts doing this horrible gargling, sticking the tongue out.
Yeah, I think it was something like he'd crushed her windpipe, but she was still breathing. So, yeah.
But then he starts apologising, and then he's like, he laughs and puts his hand in his pocket. He goes, "Hey, you want a donut?" He pours out a little bit of camel milk, I think he says it is.
No, chamomile.
Is it chamomile?
He doesn't say camel milk.
It sounded like camel milk to me, and I was like, that's weird.
Got camels on the brain.
Very true.
No.
I've got the hump up.
No.
But yeah, he puts a little bit of the donut in the water, and he's like, "Drink this, it's good for you." And then she kind of tries to sit up, and then he strangles her again.
Yeah.
which is scene 13. I see you've played Knifey Booby before.
Knifey Booby.
Because he just pulls a knife out of his boot and just slams it into her heart and pulls it out.
Yeah.
And we get a horrible little squirt of blood. But yeah, he puts her in the chair and takes a picture.
Yes.
Which is some Monochrome Madness. Scene 14, I've wrote down as your Amazon parcel has been dispatched from my warehouse. Oh yes, okay, because that's because he bundles her into the van.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he kind of wraps her up in an old 70s shower curtain and drags her into the back of his red van.
Yeah.
Scene 15, obsessively compulsive Barry Scott.
Yeah, he silly bangs the hell out of that apartment.
Not half. In fact, if he had some silly bang, he might have had to go back. I think it's 4 times he goes back.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure. I think it's meant to be funny.
Yeah.
Some of the film is quite funny.
Yeah, it's weird though that it maintains a sense of humour when it's dark as all fucking hell.
It is the definition of a black comedy, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's cleaning up after himself.
No, I'd say that was Black Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Sorry.
Yeah, he kind of goes back into the van, but he keeps getting these weird visions of blood behind a picture where there could never possibly be blood. You okay there?
Yeah, I thought the space heater was setting something on fire.
Oh no, it's my shoe doing this.
Well, don't do that.
Okay, I won't do that. But yeah, he goes in, I think, 3 more times to kind of clean up after his visions that aren't real.
Yeah.
I think there's one funny one where it's like a tiny little speck of blood under a chair leg. And I think by the third one, he hears the police sirens, doesn't he? But he still goes back in.
Yeah.
Which is scene 16, dumping Dorothy Harris. Because she also played the bus driver in Forrest Gump.
Oh, God.
And her name in that was Dorothy Harris.
Right.
But yeah, he kind of just chucks her out the back. not even far away from the house. He's like, oh, she can go out by the bins.
Yeah.
And he goes and sits back in his van. Scene 17, what seems to be the officer problem.
Yes. Yep.
This is where the policeman comes up to him in the van. I think he tells him that there's been some break-ins.
Yeah, he asked him to get out and says, "Yeah, we're investigating that. There's been. I think they say, is it to her house or just a general house?"
No, because you see him down the road at first, and he's looking through the houses.
Yeah.
But then he's like, "Oh, I think you got some bigger problems because Claire's been missing for 2 hours."
Yeah.
Then he does some bullshit about how he worked for the railroad company. And he wants some back issues of a magazine, and she said she'd go in and get them.
Yeah.
But then the policeman goes to investigate and knocks the door. He's like, "Maybe it's open." I don't know. But yeah, then he just kind of tries to help, doesn't he?
Yeah, weirdly. Yeah.
He's like, I'm just conducting my own investigation here.
But what his main goal there is to go and look under one of the feet of the chair, because whilst the reason he's still there is because he's waiting for the cop to bugger off so he can go and check under the chair, because in his OCD mind he thinks there's a spot of blood under that part of the chair.
But then he tells him this place needs to be inspected impeccably with a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
You get my drift?
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
Yeah.
Which is scene 18. Hey, surf's up!
Surf's up.
So what he's done, I can't remember at what point he does it, but he's tied her to the back of the van with rope.
Yeah, so he just peels out of there.
Drives off.
That was great. I love that.
And she just goes sliding around the corner on her face. He plays a song at this point, I think, or some sort of jaunty music.
Possibly, yeah.
But yeah, we just see him go down the highway with this massive streak of blood coming from the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gets to the he gets back to his freezer.
Yeah.
Pulls her in, and then he turns her over, and that's where we see the graphic half a face.
Yeah.
Because it's
been dragging along the fucking
just
pavement.
sheared it off, and it's just like a bit of open brain and a bit of jaw.
Blah, blah, blah.
And even he pulls a face like, oh, hey, mate, actually, you know what?
Should have left that one. Yeah.
But I think before all that, he kind of looks back at his trail, doesn't he? But then the heavens open up and it starts to rain.
Yep.
Yes, that's when we get the Bob Dylan scene again, where he's going through all the things, all these neuroses.
Because Virgil's talking to him,
yeah,
and he'll say he was talking about isn't it?
He's talking about being a man of faith.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He said, not a man of faith given our present situation.
But he was like, it was like there was a divine intervention that did it, and it stopped me from being caught.
But he doesn't believe it, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's when we see him dropping the signs that say vulgarity, rudden, impulsiveness, narcissism, irrationality, manipulation, mood swings, verbal superiority.
Yeah, because he was at this point, I'm sure Virgil starts insinuating that he wanted to be caught because he literally left a trail, and he was like, it's arrogant because you were challenging them to find you, but does it upset you? And that's it. It's because he starts talking about the memory about the fields.
Yeah, I think that's a bit later on.
Is that later?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's 2 scenes. So in scene 19, a smile a day keeps the weirdo at bay. So that's when he's looking in the mirror and he's like practicing smiling.
Yeah.
But he does that really funny one where he's got that picture of like a screaming face and he starts going trying to do whatever noise it would be.
Yeah, because he's such a psychopath. He doesn't. It's kind of like that.
He's got to practice his
He
emotions.
has to mask emotions because he genuinely has no feelings for anybody.
Has to learn it himself.
Yeah.
Scene 20, synchronised scything of the duck that did no wrong. So this is where we get the flashback of him as a child running through the cornfields. And that's where Virgil says it was not a sense of come and catch me as a child.
Yeah.
A disappointment that the rain washed away the blood.
That's
it's
it.
like more amazement.
Yeah.
But that's when we just get the awesome...
Did he turn into Elvis at that point? Come on, man.
I'm going to kill this bitch.
Definitely.
Oh, why didn't he make that film before he died?
I don't know.
Or did he die, Dan?
No, but, yeah. Well, no, not according to, weirdly, Bruce Campbell, who looks like Matt Dillon, who was Elvis.
We
in
could
the
get
film.
Bruce Campbell on, couldn't we?
No. His chin wouldn't fit through the loft hatch.
That's true. He'd have to stick his head through like that gif you see of a Japanese Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, we could lower him through the... Yeah, he could just be the other side of the loft window somehow.
We could convert the shed. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get the scenes of him as a child running through the fields, but then we get the awesome kind of... He kind of explains the calmingness of the synchronised scything, which is really nice to watch.
Oh God, so relaxing.
Yeah.
Well. It's just yeah.
It's just watching the scythes cut the crop.
Yeah, it was just the fact as well. What it did was it kind of implemented kind of a subliminal thing for you as well, because he talks about how when the men would work, they would
breathe in on
exhale and then breathe in on the pull back. So when they're doing that, I started doing that.
Yeah. So you can't help but mask because the audio for that breathing is so loud. But it goes with the sigh.
Yeah, it's great. So in doing so, you're forced into that as well. And what it's doing is it's actively making you breathe properly.
Yeah.
So you relax, and then it's the relaxing nature of it, and that sort of coincidence that. Yeah, it draws you in. It's nuts, that little... And it's only like not even a minute long, that section.
No. When you get a few scenes where you actually see the scythe... I've never actually seen one in use before. I've only ever seen them as a Grim Reaper kind of thing.
It's weird that I used to have one.
But watching it just cut the grass and slowly put it to one side, it's so nice. But yeah, then actually, the little kid in it reminded me of Christian Bale a little bit in Empire of the Sun.
Okay.
And also, to go back to it, the little kid who played Forrest Gump. Anyway.
Yeah.
But he's down by the pond and he catches a little ducky. Yeah. And then just cuts its foot off with some pliers and throws it back in the water.
Yeah.
But I think there is no dogs were harmed.
Well, no, it didn't look like. To be honest, when I was looking at it, I was like, "There's no way they're doing that because they would get sued up, up the wrong one."
Who doesn't like ducks?
But also, it looked like a little marshmallow foot.
It did.
Like,
it did.
That's not a real foot. And then he just went plop, and just chucked it back in.
But then it did have a bit of trouble swimming, so I wonder if someone was going, "Yeah, pull it, Gary."
Nah, just a shit duck.
What a shit duck. Scene 21. No. Nothing instills malice quite like aggressive fruit eating. He's back in his freezer now, and he's eating a pear.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like that though.
Yeah.
If it's not a nice pear.
I do like a nice pear.
Ooh.
Oh, madam. But yeah, he's not happy. He's staring at the room he can't get into. And he throws the pear. Oh, he throws the pear at the Patino's pizzas. Again, I think he's trying to break into that room again, but he just can't do it.
No.
And then it just cuts to him strangling a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that one's not really set up, is it?
No,
it does that and then you get the...
It's kind of implying that he's killed more people in the interim. Because he's saying... I think this is where he's saying that he's got good at strangling now. He knows how long to do it for.
Oh, yeah. It's like a woman in a... I thought it was like a hotel, but it's like a crappy little apartment, isn't it? Or something.
Yeah, it's like a tower block almost. Yeah. And he's like, "Bravo, Jack, you certainly are clever and tough, just like all the other criminals." Scene 22. Oops, excuse me, but the world's smallest Lloyd's the chemist. Because he's developing photos in the tiniest little cupboard with one red bulb.
Yeah.
But that's where he says that he was dissatisfied with the images that he took.
Yeah. Because again, like you'll be getting all this through all these scenes as well, interspliced. Him and Virgil talking just about art in general, and saying what he is above anything is an artist.
Yeah, yeah. You never see them, not yet anyway.
It's a very art driven conversation that they have for the most part, which is great because it shows later in the film. But yeah,
it certainly does. But we see he kind of says that he needs to take the pictures again. So he needs the corpse back. Yeah. But she's just frozen over a box because she's in the freezer.
I like that scene though where he puts her in there because he literally just goes onto her butt like yeah.
And there is a bit where he says, that made my pictures give them some humour. And it's like, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But scene 23. Achievement unlocked. Hit and keep. So he's taking the frozen woman back to the apartment to take some more pictures.
Yeah.
But on the way he just sees an old lady walking along.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, I've got to do it. He just turns around and runs her down.
Yeah, and then he has a conversation with Virgil about how annoyed he was that he was already doing something but he couldn't turn down.
Yeah, he couldn't resist running her over. He said, it made my already daring plan of bringing the first body back to the scene of the murder in order to take some inspired photos far more dangerous.
Yeah.
I had now a severely hemorrhaging body and a body frozen in a bizarre position on my hand.
Yeah.
I love that it acknowledged that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for us to see and think it was funny.
Yeah.
Scene 24, The Lamb and the Tiger. This is where we get another one of those kind of scenes of art and stock footage all in like a small frame.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the lamb and the tiger. The lamb represents innocence and the tiger represents savagery.
Yeah.
But both are necessary. The tiger feeds on blood and kills the lamb. That is the artist's nature. So he's basically saying that his art is killing in a roundabout way. Yeah. I think Virgil says, you read Blake like the devil reads the Bible.
Yeah.
After all, a poor lamb didn't die to become even the greatest of art.
Yeah, because that's what he's referencing is a piece by Blake. Because he says, are you familiar with him? So yeah, what he's saying is that basically, he sees the devil in everything. So
yeah,
whatever it is, he's gonna turn it around, like a psychopath does, to be whatever they want. You know, they can make an excuse for anything.
That's it.
Yeah.
And whilst they're talking, we get the scene of it's the outside the tower block again. Well, it's more like a two-store flats, but it's kind of sped up of him walking to one side, and he ends up on the floor above, and he comes back across, opens the door, comes back, gets the body.
Oh yes,
he kind of does it like 3 times, just sped up.
It's great. Yeah, carries the oddly shaped body in, dumps it, runs back down, and you can see a woman in one of the windows just doing her hair. Or something.
That's it.
Because he says something about, wasn't it hard to hide, and he said it was easier to just not hide. No one gave a shit.
Yeah. Hide in plain sight, I think he says.
Yeah.
But he's saying that doing things a bit more slapdash is making his OCD kind of go away.
Yeah.
Scene 25, Such Negative Nancy. This is where he takes the picture, but it's the negative, so it's the whites and the blacks.
Correct, yes.
And he's like, through the negative you can see the real demonic quality of light, the dark light. Kid looking at the light? I might have wrote that quote down wrong.
Yeah, I think he says when he was a kid he used to like looking at the light, or
possibly,
looking at the light in negative because of its evil nature.
But then we get an awesome thing I've not seen before, which is the you get the negative film of the fire burning, but it's done backwards.
Yeah.
So they've done it, flipped it and reversed it. I'm not going to do the rest of that. I thought it was quite a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Scene 26, just employ a contractor. So I think it's him at his site where he's building now.
His lot, yeah.
But he's just built a really shit wall out of cinder blocks.
Pretty much, he's made a corner, hasn't he? He's made a corner out of cinder blocks.
He's made a wonky corner.
It looks so slapdash. Yeah.
It looks like a fart could blow it down.
And that's what he says, basically. Yeah. He's like, the medium wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that comes later on. Scene 27, the best piece of descriptive animation I've seen for quite some time. So this is the one with the 2 street lamps.
Yeah.
I love this. I don't know
why.
So
good. Yeah.
It's is it all done with chalk? I think it's all done with chalk.
Yeah, it looked like chalk, or it could. Yeah.
It's so simple. It's a black background. It could be paper. I don't know if it's done digitally, and it's just a man with 2 street lamps, and he's explaining that it's all about the shadows, isn't it? As he walks from one towards the other, the shadow extends, then retracts behind him, but then the shadow behind gets larger.
Yeah.
And he's saying one's his pleasure and basically one's his pain, and when the pain gets too much, he will kill again.
Yeah,
but
because it's when he's directly under the light is when the shadow is at its densest.
Yeah, so when the shadow behind him completely catches up and is upon him.
Yeah,
so that's
when he'll kill again.
Yeah, but it just looked fucking awesome.
It was so good, and it was
so
again.
Simple.
It made sense with all the other footage you see. It was such a science class way of explaining something. Shot really nicely, and the stop animation of it just made it look great. Because it was at that point I started to realise that's what all the titles were, like First Occasion or whatever. They were all the backwards of something like that melting down, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like reverse washing it off.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It might be more like a slate or something.
Reverse wash,
yeah. But yeah, he kind of he explains. He explains him perfectly about how after doing a kill he gets a high and he's walking and he slowly builds back up and he's got to do it again basically. Which leads on to incident 3, which I named 33 and a third because I couldn't think of anything funny for a third incident.
Okay.
I think it starts off. We get a shot of a British redcoat huntsman. But this is where he's with the family.
Yeah.
And they've all got red caps on. But it's the woman from Fortitude and the Danish version of The Killing. I don't know her name.
Oh, I haven't seen either of those.
She's quite nice. I've never met her. She had nice things to say about you.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's set up by Virgil again. He starts to talk about the fact that he's collecting these bodies now. They're all appearing in his freezer, and he says, "Isn't the reason that you're keeping them around is because you desire some sort of family or some sort of company?" And he's like, "No." But then he tells the story of the time he was with the family.
He says, "I think the concept of family inspired one of my greatest works." Yeah. But yeah, I imagine, I don't know if it's a date or he must be seeing this woman. She's got 2 small children.
Yeah.
And he's taking them hunting in a clearing. He's got some stall now. And a nice little moustache.
Yeah. It looked like he'd actually started pulling his shit together, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Like he started becoming more of a real person. Practicing smiling in the mirror more.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of, I think he's explaining the guns to the children. He's like, this is a shotgun. It's a smoothbore weapon. Less accurate but better when an animal's moving. And he's like
footage of a rhino getting killed, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of footage of animals getting killed.
Well, there will be at this, but yeah, because he's explaining. Yeah, you see it when he's talking about it. He's talking about deers, and you see deers, and it's cut with him actually physically talking to the kid, and then it's over the top. Yeah,
little George, poor little George. But
Smiler.
He asks him if they're going hunting, and goes, "No, hunting is disgraceful."
Yeah.
And I think he kind of explains what. Yeah, he tells him what culling is, and I think there's a scene of people. Hitting sticks to draw the animals out of the woods.
That's beaters, yeah.
Beaters, that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. He basically explains everything, and he explains
what a Schweiz dog is.
Yeah.
Schweiz means to follow a blood trail.
Yeah. So hunting dog, yeah.
But yeah, so they're in like a clearing, and there's what do you call it, like a watchtower?
Hunting
tower, yeah. Which leads us on to scene 29. Pull my finger, George. Yeah. So he takes little George up to the hunting tower.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to fire the gun." Well, I'm going to aim. I'm going to aim it. You pull the trigger. And he's got some targets set out, and I think it's one of a deer.
Yeah.
So yeah, he pulls the trigger, and then they go and have a look, and he's like, "Oh, you didn't hit the vitals." Yeah. He's like, "Well, you were aiming, idiot."
Yeah.
He's like, "For an animal this big, you need to hit it in the vitals, which is like the lungs and the heart. But you hit it in the rear. An animal could run for quite a while with this. That's why you need a Schweiz dog."
Yeah, to track it. Yeah.
But then.
Right. And he's at this point he's talking to.
It's Virgil again, because he's saying I consider myself. Oh no yeah. So it's. I think it just cuts then to. Him basically in the tower on his own.
Well, there's still the part where they're talking about hunting in terms of just hunting and the traditions. He says something about in Northern Europe or something like that. Because he's the bit where he talks about the crows and needing to call them, and then what you see is footage of hunters with rows and rows of pheasants.
It's
like, what they do is
trophy ceremony or something like that.
He talks about the trophy ceremony, and you see the way they lay out their kills and the way that they do all that stuff first.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's real footage.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's all archive stuff.
Yeah, hundreds of animals just all in a pile, but like kind of arranged like a banquet almost.
Yeah. And then you see what happens is you see basically a picnic. You see a picnic laid out, and then you see Matt Dillon.
Well, you see them kind of cowering on the picnic blanket. Yeah, that's when he says, I've always taken ethical hunting rules very seriously. I consider myself a bit of a gentleman or a Mr. Sophistication.
Yeah.
Which brings us on to scene 30. Georgie Porgy Pudding and Pie. His leg blew off. It made him die.
His leg blew off.
Poor George. But yeah, he's explaining how when you hunt deer, you kill the biggest one first. And
the biggest of the offspring first. Yeah.
And then the smallest, and then the mother last. And he's like, I think he says something like, they're messing up the order because George runs for it, basically.
Yeah.
And I think he's the littlest.
Yeah. Well, because he explains that by doing it in this way, if he was to kill the mother first, and not be able to kill the two kids, then they would die immediately. If he was to shoot the youngest first, then the other two might bolt, so he wouldn't get the mother. So the best way to do it is the middle one first, then the mother, then the smallest. And that's the ethical...
I think the mother goes last because the mother one's the only one that can survive on her own. Because the partner one...
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, that's it. The middle, the middle foal, the younger one, and then the mother. Yeah, and that is the ethical hunting rule, yeah.
Either way, there's 3 of them and there's 3 of the deer.
Yeah.
But yeah, poor little Georgie runs across, and he's... you don't see him get shot.
No,
you just
he doesn't, because that's the part where he says they're in the wrong order.
Yeah.
So that was the smallest one. Yeah.
Yeah, but you kind of see he aims through down the sides, and you kind of just hear this shot on Madeline's face. Yeah. And then he just pans back, and his leg's off. And then she runs to go and get him, and then the other kid's like, turns around, and he gets a bullet through the head.
Yeah.
And bless her, she does some good screamy acting, and but no, he doesn't shoot her at this point.
He doesn't. Then we return to the picnic, and he's eating. But she's just there, shocked and staring. Yeah.
And he refers to him as Mr. Grumpy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he hasn't got much of an appetite. Give him some pie. So she's forced to try and feed a slice of pie to her dead child, who is propped up on sticks.
Yeah.
And he goes, "This has been a good day.
Yeah.
An excellent day."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You got a favourite number, love?"
Yeah.
And he's like, 12. Excellent number.
Yeah.
Because he's Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But yeah, he just starts counting to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she's just like, fuck it, and slowly walks off.
Yeah.
She gets shot in the back.
Really?
Well, she falls from a shot.
Yeah.
But that brings us on to scene 31. Tales from the Festive Scot socket. So he starts whistling and he kind of just basically catches her up. Realises that she's not dead because she's fucking jibbing out, lying in a ditch.
Yeah, well, she's not where she should have been.
No, she's crawled away in a trench.
Yeah.
But she's clearly like having a panic attack and being quite loud about it.
Yeah, and I think trying to hide from him as well.
And also probably thinking, what's the point?
Wow.
But yeah, he shoots her in the back. And then it pans out.
That was really good acting. That was fantastic. Like the absolute vibration of movement that she was doing to flat out, poof, explosive stillness.
Yeah, because it kind of it ricocheted through her, like it seemed, but her head kind of bounced.
Yeah, she was really good at doing the impact, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that in a film. No, in a film that they use in squibs or whatever that explode out from the back or whatever. So it's not like there's a force to make you go like that. But yeah, no, it was weird. It was like it looked real. It was really fucking strange.
Yeah, I imagine it probably wasn't the same actress. It was probably someone who's done it 100 times before.
Well, yeah,
but that's her specialty.
Whatever. That's what I'm saying.
But yeah,
really good. Yeah,
give her an Oscar.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we see him. He's got like is it a crow he's got? He's got some sort of blackbird. He's got a big blackbird basically.
Oh yeah. I see what it is.
You see him put it down.
Yes. And
then he pans out. It seems that he's somehow managed to get. He's a crow. Yeah, he's got must have had about 100 of them because he's made a big square.
Yeah.
He made a big square out of like it's
shit.
Pines. Like like that's why I said the Festive Scot socket because he looks like Christmas tree pins.
Okay.
And he's laid down in sections all the birds.
Yeah.
And at the bottom is the bodies.
Yeah.
But the way
all arranged lovely.
Yeah, because it's a rectangle. It looks like a Scot socket because of all the crows.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, I didn't realise as well that's as it pans out. There's loads of dialogue going on. It's not a still shot. Matt Dillon's still just swaying back and forth.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
No, it wasn't a still. Yeah. No.
I'm surprised you didn't have the urge to look up and go, "Is that it?"
Yeah.
Because it's a complete overhead shot.
It was great. It was some. It reminded me for a second of Wes Anderson, but
yes, a little bit.
It was obviously a direct reference to the footage you've just seen, which is the exhibition of trophies.
Yeah. And I think Virgil says to him, "The hunt is a metaphor for love and natural weakness." And then we get that weird shot of like a Greek god, like one of them old brass sculptures that's gone green. He's got like a boar over his neck and a tiny little erect penis because Greek. And he started talking about seeing an eclipse, and we see him looking at one through a welding mask.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he mentions the Iceman, who must have been a famous serial killer, and how he always inhaled his victim's last breath.
Yeah.
And that is haunting.
But
he shows a picture of him. He's like, yeah. So if that is, I imagine that is a real guy. I'm gonna have to seek out a documentary if that is the case. Anyway, scene 32, the house that Jack nearly built.
he got further than this one, didn't he?
Well, this is the cinder block house again. So
okay.
You just see a bulldozer come in, knock it down,
push it. He didn't even need a bulldozer. It was like one height of brick.
Yeah, a breeze would have done it.
Exactly.
But I think he says that cinder blocks weren't a good choice, basically. But he's back in his study, and he just tantrum slams his cardboard cutout. But then we see the chalk drawing just walk to under the light.
Yeah.
It's like, he snapped.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice this because I've seen this twice now. I didn't notice the first time around. He's gluing up newspaper cutouts on his wall.
To the outside. It's the yeah.
It's the police reports of Mr. Sophistication.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up the first time that was his murderer name, but that's what he's been going by in the police.
Yeah.
Because there's not much in this film where it kind of gestures towards the real world. It's always these enclosed stories in these small spaces.
Well, yeah.
There's never seems to
well,
be
he's recanting them, isn't he?
Yeah. But that's not the first time we actually think, the things he's done has gone wider.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's back at the building site again at the end of that scene, but this time he's using wood.
Yeah.
Scene 33. Virg, I'm stuck down the toilet with Jim Morrison. It's a black screen again, but we just hear the water waving, and he's like, I don't feel too good, there's a sour taste in my mouth. Yeah. And that's where he goes, do you want me to show you the way to the next whiskey bar?
Yeah.
Which of course is a Doors reference.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's the acid you're starting to taste.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
Yeah.
Scene 34. Nothing witty here, it's just plain creepy. So this is where he's took George to the freezer, and he's talking about how he learned that he could manipulate rigor mortis with wires to put them in positions that they wanted.
Yeah, well, he was talking about working before rigor mortis.
Yeah.
And freezing sets in. So he's like, there's a sweet spot between where they're just about starting to get rigor mortis, but they're not quite frozen yet. If I manipulate them at that stage, then they'll stay exactly like that.
Exactly it. And then we get it's a horrible model of poor Georgie, because to explain it, he's kind of got a Joker mouth going on, but it's not just a cut. They completely pulled the sides open.
Yeah.
One eye is constantly looking down and half shut. The other eye is fuck knows where, and his teeth are all just smashed in, and it is creepy as all hell. And he's put his hand in the waving position.
Yeah.
But it flickers to it for 1 second, and you're like, oh, and then it does it again for a few more seconds. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
it's great. By the end of the film, you're kind of desensitised to it,
but
because it's always just there in the background.
Yeah, but every time we see it, like, ah!
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, Jack just waves it, I think.
Yeah.
And then that gets us to Incident for A New Hope. And this is where he pulls up outside He pulls up outside some apartments.
Yeah.
And is there a policeman, or is it a traffic warden? There's someone there like manning the streets, because he gets out and pretends he's got a crutch. Well, he has a crutch, but he pretends he needs it.
Oh God, are we there already?
Yeah.
It's a copper sat in a car. Yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't want to get a ticket, so he
comes out with a crutch.
Gets his fake stick out.
Yeah.
But he goes upstairs to meet his. I assume she's a prostitute. Do you think?
Well, I don't know. I feel like they'd been seeing each other for a while. If that makes sense, because she was far too comfortable around him for a while, and what he's saying to Virgil is, I weirdly he was saying I got too close to this one. He was like, I liked her too much, which leads me to believe like he didn't meet her and kill her. It was like a couple of days, or
maybe
a week before.
But she's definitely got some traits of the addict. So
yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she lets him in, but she won't look at him, and she kind of goes and sits on the sofa with her head in her hands.
Yeah.
I think she says to him, or he says, "What's the matter?" He's like, "Oh, I don't like the way you look at me."
Yeah.
So he just, scene 36, walkie-talkie time.
Yeah.
He's got this weird. Is it
a kid's toy?
Is it a kid's toy? Yeah. It's walkie-talkie phones.
Yeah.
So he gives one to her and goes in the other room and then calls it.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm upset because I think you might leave me." And he's like, "Oh, I'll never leave you." All that bollocks. But he's like, "I think we deserve a drink." And he's like, "I'll be round later for cocktails." And they have a little giggle because he's only in the next room.
Yeah.
Scene 37, circling what we want for Christmas in the Argos catalogue.
Nice.
Well, before we get to that bit, there's some taunting that goes on because he keeps calling her stupid.
He calls her stupid. Well, first of all, he starts calling her by another name completely, doesn't he? Well, and she's like, "That's not my name."
Well, I think he just calls her. I think he just does call her just stupid.
Oh, it's something. Well, maybe it's a variation. He makes stupid sound like a name.
Well, her name is Jacqueline.
Yeah, and she's like, "But my name's Jacqueline," and he goes, "Oh no, your parents are idiots. They picked a stupid name. Yeah. This is far more befitting of you." And then he continues to call her an idiot.
He's like, "Just go and get me a fucking magic marker."
Yeah.
Comes back with a pen. You just get.
I do like how he's like, black or red will do.
I forgot to write that.
I won't be picking.
Don't you dare bring blue.
Lady's choice.
She brings red.
Mm-hmm.
And he proceeds to pull down her dress, and very carefully, and very carefully and considerately. I can't say the word.
Considerately.
Yes. Yeah. With panache, draw lines around her boobies.
I wouldn't say it was considerately. He completely manhandles her.
He does manhandle it, but there's a few moments where he's like, he has a look from different angles. He wants to make sure.
Oh well, no, he's being not being precise about it.
Yeah, he's not being a gentleman about it, but he is taking pride in his work.
Yeah. Take your time over it. I bet he did a few takes just to make sure.
I've messed it up again.
Very professional is our Matt Dillon.
I think that pen's run out, Lars.
Yeah. This is the third marker.
Have a biro.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, so she lets him do it. First boob, and then the second boob, and she's like, "You're fucking weird," and then she leaves.
Well, she pulls her top up and just walks out.
Yeah, and then she goes outside too. Scene 38, go big or go home. Oh, I guess he went home.
Yeah.
So she basically runs to the policeman and says, "Oh, he's crazy. He's a serial killer."
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's right. I've killed 60 people, and I've been a bad man to her."
I was going to say we've missed that because he's already just confessed that to her.
Oh, okay. Because she asks him what he does. He's like, "I kill people."
Yeah.
And then she runs out. But yeah, he just confesses to the policeman.
Yeah.
He just does a complete cry wolf, and he's like, "Oh, you two been drinking. I can't ask you to stop, but I can ask you to get off the road."
Yeah.
And then he just leaves.
Yeah. Well, he says, "Take your friend back inside" to her. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he has a little mini breakdown.
He has a little cry, doesn't he? Yeah. And he's like, "I could change. I swear I could change.
Will you forgive me?" And she's like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Scene 39. A boob in time saves 9. So he's asleep on the sofa upstairs.
Well, she's like, you chill out then. I'll get some pills.
Well, yeah, she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, I think we need some pills." I think she tries to ring someone, but she realises the phone's cut.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, shit." So she tries to go for the door, but then, he stood up.
Yeah. Which was obvious, but
yeah.
Okay.
He's like, "You're trying to escape. Every time we have a little bit of a row, you need to go and get some pills." But then she's like, "You're Mr. Sophistication, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "You can scream if you want."
Yeah.
But it won't do anything.
Yeah.
And then they just proceed to scream for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that basically cuts to... Oh, yeah, no.
Well, that goes on for a while because he's like, come on, I'll open the window. Yeah. Scream out the window for a bit.
Yeah, he kind of has a go at everyone around like, "No one's coming!"
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna kill her!"
Like, I will!
I will, yeah.
Yeah, but then he ties her up and we see the knife go in. We don't see the knife go in. He gestures towards having...
Well, he pulls her top down so that you see that obviously what was going to happen. We knew earlier he's going to cut around the cut hair mark. Yeah,
exactly it. But there's just a funny bit which I hoped it was going to happen and it did, where you just see him walking outside and he sees the policeman again. He just sticks the boob on the bonnet under the windscreen. Under the windscreen, like, yeah, there we go.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
And then the best bit of dialogue after that, he goes, "All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Simple back together again."
Simple, that's it. Yeah, because that's it. He keeps calling her Sybil, and she's like, "It's not my name, it's Jacqueline." And then I'm sure he starts calling her Simple.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe he is calling her Simple the whole time. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. Either
Either way, no boobs for her.
No.
Scene 40, sensory overload with disco death pile. So it's again when it's another dialogue with Virg, and he's like, "Why do you always target stupid women?"
Yeah.
Which is something that I was picking up on. Like, yeah, these women are really stupid.
Yeah.
But I think he says, "I've killed men, but you only talk about the women."
Yeah.
And then he starts talking about, he calls Jack a psychopath, and he's like, "I loathe a diagnosis you can write down in letters."
Yes.
And then Virg goes, "Letters are clear and they look after us, they carry religion. It's like religion has ruined us. It's taught us to ignore the target in ourselves. But when it does that, it's just a weird, really fast-moving image of letters that make no sense.
Yeah, okay. And
it's like a strobe light effect. And that cuts really quickly to a camera inside the freezer room, just spinning quickly.
Right.
So you're like, oh, blah. After all the flashing and then spinning, it's like, okay, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But that's when he's talking about decomposition.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know much about decomposition, but I do know about dessert wine.
Yeah.
And he mentions the 3 ways that they do grapes, which is frost, dehydration, or a fungus called the noble rot.
That's it, yeah.
Which is just an awesome name for anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some images of grapes. And
just picked a new name for my penis.
The noble rot. Hello, madam.
Hello, birds. Do you want some of the noble rot? Who can say no to that, eh?
But yeah, after all the scenes of grapes and bullshit about dessert wine, we get scene 41. Why don't you just marry Hitler with a seasoning of talking fox and wang?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of admiration here towards Hitler and who is it? Albert Speer. Yeah, is that his name?
I think so.
Albert Speer. Yeah.
The architect.
Yeah. Who he valued the he valued ruins, didn't he? He built architecture.
He valued the Romans and the way that they made architecture that lasted and remained in its original shape or its form. It retained its original presence,
even though it was kind of rubble. Yeah. I think he wanted to have a rubble-ish look, but still be.
Yeah.
Well, so he said he'd do it half and half, like one that would decompose and be destroyed.
Yeah, he'd use a mixture of stronger and weaker materials on purpose, so that when it did inevitably get older in centuries,
the structure would be there, but it wouldn't look the same.
Yeah.
It would kind of create destructive art.
Yeah.
Because that's when he says, "Why can't destruction create art?"
Yeah.
And that's kind of like sums up his whole path.
Yeah. And there's a little bit where he's like, well, it doesn't matter because like months after he'd finished building it all got bombed to oblivion.
So yeah, he's like, yeah, it didn't work.
He's like, well, that wasn't the point.
But yeah, there's a lot of scenes of Hitler and his moustache.
Yeah.
And there's some cool things. There's some cool footage of Stuka pilots.
Yeah.
And he was saying that as they were bombing, some of the pilots would pass out before they had to pull up again because of the G forces.
Yeah, yeah.
And that they attached little sirens to the planes to go. Ah!
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he says He says the sound of them was
it's a psychological act of war.
Was a psychological thing, but he says he says that's part of the reason why they're amazing. And Virgil says, well, isn't it a design flaw that the enemy can hear them coming? He's like, no, it was actually put in there on purpose
to instill fear in the enemies.
Yeah, so that it would be associated with the so any survivors would always associate that noise with oncoming fear. So they would immediately freak out if they ever heard the sirens again.
It's quite alarming. Always scared the cat.
Well, it's psychological warfare.
Yeah. But then we get
scared the cat.
We get a kind of worryingly self-referential bit here, where he says he's talking about the atrocities that we commit in our fiction are the desires that we can't commit in our civilization.
Yeah.
But that's when he starts playing clips of his other films.
Yeah. So we get the Antichrist.
Yeah, and we get things like from Nymphomaniac with Charlotte Gainsbourg being ripped by Jamie Bell, which is Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that one. I don't know what the film is where we see the fully grown man being pushed out of a vagina.
Oh, no. Yeah.
It's not Ghostbusters 2.
No, it's definitely not that. And what's the one with the big... Oh, bloody hell. She wants the moon to kill her.
Oh. Melancholia.
Yeah. I didn't see that one because...
You saw the ending clip in this film and that's all you need to see.
Well, I read the synopsis and I was like, yeah, I kind of get that. But I didn't really want to watch What's the Tits for 2 hours or whatever. Even though
Kirsten Dunst.
She does get her norks out.
She does get them out. She's not in it for very long because she just wanders off. So I think it's Charlotte Gainsborough or Gainsbourg, whichever, and Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay.
I can't actually remember.
I thought she was like the main character and it was all just her.
She kind of is.
In a paddock for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Pissing off the cows with her tits.
Horses, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. She kind of summons down the meteor that destroys the world.
Yeah. Well, it's basically Donnie Darko-esque in a way.
Yeah.
She's willing the end of the world to happen because she doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, which is a bit selfish because everybody else.
Some of us have got stuff to do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind if it's Monday because...
Oh,
yeah.
Fill your boots.
Friday night, though. Fuck off.
But the worrying bit about that is the notion that he puts in that these are the atrocities that we can't commit that we want to. But then he shows all of the weird stuff that he's done in his films.
Exactly.
Kind of implying that I do want to do this.
So you want to hit Willem in the Defoe, and then ejaculate him, and put a thing through his leg? No.
And then go and punch a bird to death.
Punch a bird to death.
And then cut off your own
Johnson.
Oh.
No, well, yeah. Your own Layla.
Anyway. Scene 42. Incident 5. That'd be 5 nipples, please.
Yep.
So he's in the gun store with... Oh, I never know the actor's name. He's in loads of things. He's in Lost. He's in Band of Brothers. He's basically the cowardly little guy.
Well, yeah, you can see that. Yeah.
But he's the guy who runs the bullet shop.
Yep.
And he goes to buy a full metal jacket bullet.
Yes.
But yeah, this is where we see that he's made a little coin purse out of the other booby.
Yeah. Tit wallet.
Tit wallet, yeah.
Great.
But yeah, then he cuts to...
Or nipple purse, if you will.
Nipple purse, yeah. It's got a ring.
It's either got to be tit wallet or nipple purse.
It's got a ring to it.
Yeah.
A nipple ring.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he cuts back to the freezer outside and he's got a guy in the back of the van cuffed up. And he's got a gun this time, which isn't like... Well, I suppose it is like our Jack to have a pistol. But yeah, he throws in the keys and goes, uncuff yourself. He's like, okay. And he's like, turn around, cuff yourself again.
Yeah.
And he takes him into the freezer. That's where we see... He's basically got a rail of people.
Yeah.
All with their chin on the rail. And he explains that during World War II, they were low on bullets. So experimental mass execution was how they went about it. Basically saying... he's going to try and drive a one bullet through all the heads.
Yes.
I think you see the rifle on a tripod.
Yes.
Over to the side.
So, yeah.
But luckily, our new guy is a military man. So this is scene 43. What you've purchased there is a full metal jacket potato.
Jacket potato.
Because he's like, I think you're mistaken, sir. He's like, no, there's been no mistake. He's like, no, about the bullet.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm a military man. That's not a full metal jacket. He's like, oh.
This is a hunting round. You're quite right.
Yeah, back to the shop. He's like, I'm so sorry, lads. Sit tight. He even puts a blanket over them.
Don't die on me.
Don't freeze. I'll be back. But yeah, he goes back and...
I was way off about why I thought they were chained up in that fashion.
Yeah?
Yeah. I thought they were going to be a roof.
I
was kind of, spoilers, on in the right path, but yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
But he didn't do that. But he should have thought about that at the time.
Yeah, it's all the human millipede nearly. Because let's not get into that crap. Yeah, he goes back and rightfully so shouts at the timid man, saying, "Is it too much to ask that the content of the box is what's on the label?" And then he kind of pisses his pants and he's like, "Shut it down, Al. Have a sandwich."
Yeah.
I don't know if he says that he's going to go and see the guy in the trailer, but he storms out basically.
Well, yeah.
But we see the gunsmith guy calling ahead and kind of implied there's the guy in the trailer. Scene 44. May I say what a smashing dressing gown you have on? So he pulls up to like a static caravan, runs inside, and we see someone in like a red. Well, it's a red dressing gown, but it looks kind of. It's Red Riding Hoodie, isn't it? It's a lovely red.
Yeah.
I didn't know who this actor.
Deep velvet.
Do you know what the actor was?
I didn't recognise him. He was great though, but I didn't recognise him.
Gravelly old man who was not Tom Waits, but
yeah.
he looked like a glass of whiskey.
He looked like if Walter Matthau had survived, he might have gone a bit like that. If he'd have let his neck just explode.
Maybe, yeah. But he kind of runs in, doesn't he? And he's like, I think he accuses him. He says it's time to stop now. The police know what you've done.
Well, yeah, because he runs in. He's like, I need a full metal jacket. Give me one. And he's like, no, it's too late.
Yeah, points a gun at him. He's like, they know what you've done. He's like, what have I done? He's like, the robbery. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Much worse than that. He's like, I'm going to call Rob, who I don't think it's Rob.
It's going to be the sheriff.
It's the sheriff, yeah. It's not the developer I work with and speak to every day. If you're listening, Rob, hello. But yeah, so he calls Rob. Pours him a glass of whiskey and he's like, right, we'll just wait. Then he kind of pretends then he's like, oh, it's such a relief to know it's going to all be over.
Yeah.
I think at that point you see him pull a knife out of his boot.
Yes, yeah, you can see him sort of holding it under the table a bit, yeah.
And I think he pretends to be a bit upset then. And the guy comes over and I think he shakes his hand. Oh, he drinks his drink and we go shake his hand and just stabs him in the throat.
Well, it's because, Matt Dillon gives him this whole speech about... you know what, it's actually quite relieving to have been caught. and because I knew I knew I'd done a bad thing when I did the robbery.
Did a bad murder.
That's what I was going. I did another murder. When
We didn't burn him. Sorry.
Oh God. Welcome to the League of Gentlemen Quotes Hour. But he's saying if anyone had to, he's not looking. Oh, said he was looking for a boy. Puff after it.
Any used tissues?
Oh God. Alles klar.
Alles klar. Not long now, just... Okay.
Stop. Nikolov. It's that face. What?
He's talking about how it's a relief to have been caught.
Yes, and he says, out of anything, I'm glad it was you, because we're good friends, and remember that time we went hunting, and you helped me get that kill, and he makes him sort of smile and drop his gun. He's like, can you put the gun down, because I'm not going anywhere, and you're freaking me out. So then he gets up and makes him a drink, and as he goes to... he gives him the drink, and as he's getting the glass back off him, he stabs him in the neck.
Yeah. Poor bastard. Anyway, but then he goes straight to the cupboard, finds the pack of 4 metal jacket potato bullets.
Yeah.
Just takes one out. He's like, I only need one. Throws the rest on the floor.
Yeah.
And at this point, Rob turns up.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah. And he walks in with his gun drawn, but he just sees...
Sirens blaring there.
Yeah, and I think at this point Has he put his clothes
He
on...
switched clothes.
Switched clothes, like, good one, you got him. But it's Jack in the red dress.
Yeah, so he just turns around and shoots him in the face.
Slams him in the face.
Yeah.
Scene 45. No one will suspect a stolen police car. Did he curb his van so he couldn't drive it anymore? Did he get it into a ditch or something? Because I think he might have broke down because there's a bit where he's got to...
Yeah, he doesn't do it on purpose.
Down the way a bit, isn't it? And he has to run to the... Up the road.
So what he's doing is he's driving. I don't know whether he intends to drive off road or to go somewhere else, but he basically gets it stuck in the mud.
Yeah, so he has to
ditches it. So he goes and runs and nicks the cop car.
Well, she doesn't turn the siren off the whole way.
No, I found that bit hilarious.
Yeah, and then he just leaves on blaring as when he gets back to the freezer room.
Yeah, and what I love is the fact that he's running out with one bullet.
Yeah,
just clutching
in the dressing gown.
Yeah. Like he can't wait. Like this is gonna.
It's great, and he goes straight up to the military guy and goes, "Is that a full metal jacket?" And he's like. Yeah. So he loads it into the gun. He's trying to look down the sights to see if all the heads line up, and he's like, "Gun's too close, can't focus."
No.
But the only way he can get further back is to open the door.
Yeah.
The door with the red square. Scene 46. No one puts Virgil in the corner. So he manages to find... He just finds a pipe, doesn't he, which manages to open it.
It's a part of pipe from the... triangle that is constructed to keep the men on that he's going to shoot through the heads. It's a leftover part of pipe that he's used to make that.
Okay. Yeah, so he opens
explains
the door.
why it's there.
Yeah, he opens the door and he does it quite cleverly. He's put some white tape on the floor so he knows his angle.
Oh yeah. He really knows what he's doing. Yeah.
But he doesn't put the light on at this point. He just goes back into the dark.
Yeah.
And he's about to take his shot, but then I think he just hello.
Yeah.
Or he says something.
Come here often.
I can't remember what he says. Basically, he's like, "But I've been with you for a while. You just didn't notice me." Yeah. And you get this jump because I've seen this twice now. I didn't look out for him, but you see this cut of all these other murders where he's just in the background looking.
Yeah.
So
I doubt he was there, but we're gonna have to do it now, aren't we?
I've got it on this laptop. We can have a look in a bit.
Oh,
but yeah, we see him out the car window of Uma Thurman's smashed face. He's looking.
Yeah,
through.
he's basically in the background of all the pictures.
He's stood behind the boar sign when he shoots the family.
He's like a watcher from Fringe, if you've ever seen that.
Yes.
There you go.
Got on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I must find that out.
All right, Billy Bollocks.
Ooh.
Billy Blu-ray Bollocks.
I don't want to brag, but I've got a PlayStation 3. But yeah, basically he's saying to him, oh yeah, so he turns the light on and that's where we see who Virgil is. And he's a nice old man sat in the corner in a suit.
In a noticeably dated suit as well.
Yeah, very sort of 50s Italian.
Earlier than 50s.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know my years.
I'd say Edwardian to Victorian somewhere. Yeah.
Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, possibly. Anyway, so he says, did you come here to stop me? And he's like, no. But he's just got one question. Weren't you meant to be building something? Building a house?
Yeah. Wasn't Jack meant to be building a house, is what he says.
Yeah, he is. He refers to him in the third person. And then I think we see the police turn up at that point around the fucking siren that's going off outside.
Yeah.
Scene 47. If that's a prop, where's that being kept? So this is where Jack finally builds his house out of corpses.
Yeah.
And it's horrific, but it's awesome.
It is, yeah. Luckily, this room that he's never had access to is absolutely fucking humongous. and allows him the perfect space to build this house.
Does he build it in that room? Does
Yeah,
he?
that's my only problem with this whole film is that room. Otherwise, yeah.
That's not realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he builds this house out of corpses,
Yeah.
which, I want to see that structure somewhere.
Yeah,
I bet it's in Lars von Trier's house.
It's It'd be great in the Tate or something like that, because they've had things like that before. It reminded me of exhibitions.
They could put it in the Bodyworks Museum in London.
Oh, yeah. Well, kind of, yeah. That's really in keeping with the theme of the Bodyworks.
Yeah, but I did notice as well earlier. I think it's earlier when he's trying to load his gun, you just see George like in the background waving, horribly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the police turn up and they basically start welding through the door because they can't get in because he's barricaded it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Are you coming, Jack?" And you see a perfectly cut hole in the floor, which reminded me a lot of the opening of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
So it's that kind of panning shot of the storm drain.
Yeah.
And we see they solder down a panel. They get through. The gun comes through, 2 shots go off, and he jumps down.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, obviously, what they're doing is they're aiming at one of the bodies that is making up the house. So they keep shooting that because they can't really see what they're aiming.
Well,
at.
I think it's implied that with the second shot,
probably got him.
He probably got him, and that's when he falls down, basically into
scene. That was any bit for me. I would have loved some clarification on what physically happened there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the idea is that he gets shot and he's dead.
Or the whole house of dead bodies went.
Yeah,
squashed him. That would have been lovely.
Which leads us on to 48 epilogue. Get ready for the best ending ever.
Yeah, man.
So we just see it's his feet, isn't it? It's like a circle of light in paddly water and his feet.
Yeah.
And it's the opening dialogue.
It's the opening dialogue. Yeah. You could hear the water earlier.
Yeah, him saying to Virg, "Can we talk along the way?"
Yeah.
And that's really.
I don't really know what the rules are.
Yeah, but some people like to confess. Scene 49 was weird. Sonic the Hedgehog Aqua Level meets the Borderlands. So this is where we see them kind of floating down, looking dead in water, but then they're in these big bubbles. You remember this?
I don't. And then No, it before they've gone through the sea cave.
Yeah, no, it is. It's now.
Okay.
Because I was originally going to call that scene League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because I had a feeling in that there's a scene where he goes along in a big electric ball. But yeah, it's weird. You get the first shot of them looking like they're dead in a river.
And then it's kind of you don't notice for a while that it's not still again. It's such a slow motion shot. But it is as if they've dived into water and they're still travelling down. You know?
Yeah, but then it cuts to them in these big bubbles, just floating down to the bottom of the ocean. But then it hard cuts to handycam footage, which is what reminded me of the last movement of the Borderlands where they're in the cave.
Yeah.
And that's where we get that weird claustrophobic in the water caves, struggling to get through and like bobbing under caverns. And that was awesome because it was such a change of pace. And obviously the cinematography completely changed as well. Scene 50, so that's what tinnitus is, because he asks about the buzzing sound, and he basically explains that that's hell.
Yeah.
And millions of years of people's screams and suffering.
Yeah, it's basically there's so much screaming happening on that
it's just a buzzing.
It all just becomes a buzz. Yeah.
And then it shows some weird kind of old stock footage of industrial workers looking like they're trying to bore down to hell to find it. It shows this big piston.
It's because he's talking. He's saying about religions and man, and they've always been trying to localize hell. They've been trying to figure out geographically where it actually would be. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Scene 51. The perfect trilogy of artistic depravity. So this is where we get the awesome 3 kind of slow-mo shots. The first one being the 2 of them going down separate ladders. So like he's on the very bottom left. He's on the very top right.
Yeah.
Him being Jack in his red cloak. But he's really obviously.
I love that he's still got that dressing gown on. Yeah.
But you needed to be able to see him.
Yeah.
But only those 2 parts are kind of lit up, and you can kind of see that the whole background is made up, and it's super zoomed out shot. The whole background is made up of like body parts and arms and stuff. Yeah. And it's just them slowly, like it's almost like one frame.
Yeah, it's like them taking one step down on the ladder. Yeah. But it's that, it's so reduced.
But it's got the horrible hissing noise and this kind of malevolent groan going on. Then that cuts to the second awesome scene, which is the slow-mo, one of them walking through the bloodstreams. So he's got the cane, Virgil has, and then Jack's in the back with the hood up.
Yeah.
But all these pores of blood coming from like the ceiling and like a lake of blood as well. But again, that's like a really slow-mo shot.
Yeah.
And then the really strange one, which is the 2 of them on a boat.
I love this, yeah.
It's great. It's got actual actors in it. Like there's one guy, they're all naked, and there's one guy like holding up the boat as the waves rock back and forth, and it's like this weird diorama, but it's actually moving back and forward in slow mo of these people just basically. It's like they're trying to take them across the river Styx almost. Yes. So it's implied that Virgil is like the Charon figure that will take you across.
Well, to me it looked exactly in its tone, and that it reminds me of a picture called The Raft of the Medusa. There we go, which is sort of French Romanticism. It was like 1918, 1980, something like that. And that's what it is. It's that shot of it's very artistically driven. Like by looking at it, you can tell that it is meant to be a representation of that school of art kind of thing. Like it's very much taking that off. Whether or not that's directly what it's meant to be, that's exactly what it looks like to me. But again, that's. Yeah, I can. It's that sort of setting.
I'm looking at the picture right now. If you want. When we went to Norway, we went to an art gallery, and there was a lot of that kind of thing.
It's the romanticism.
Yeah, and just the weird angle of the painting, where it's emphasising the people who are the centre of the picture, but it doesn't make sense to the proportions of everything else. It almost looks like it should be 3D, and you should be able to walk around it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But again, it is. Yeah, you'd have to see it. And that leads us on to scene 52. Chuckle Chuckle Vision made it to heaven.
Oh, you did think he looked like him.
Yeah. So they kind of
to me.
They eventually make it to the inside of a.
He's the one that's actually dead, though.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, Chuckle Chuckle
that's
Vision.
That's where he ended up. Bloody hell. Yeah.
No, it's good because that's.
He wasn't in heaven though.
That's in heaven.
Oh, was it?
I think so because he is in. You see them from the inside of like a farmhouse looking out.
Yeah.
And it's the Sives again, which is his only part of Inner Peace.
Oh,
and he looks out the window, and that's when Barry Chuckle walks past. And he rolls a tear like, oh shit, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
And that's when we get down to scene 53, Uncharted 5, Satan's Arsehole.
Yeah.
So this is where we see the big, I don't know what you call it. It's like, it's a big, what do you call them? Waterfall of lava into a pit and a broken bridge.
The lava fall.
Yeah, the lava fall. And Virgil's like, well, this is as far as I can take you. He's like, what are those stairs over that side? He's like, they go back up.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, that's not what it is. He says, this is the lowest... No, he says, down there, at the bottom of this pit of lava, that is the deepest depth of hell, down there. And he says, but you're actually a couple of rings higher. But I brought you down here as a courtesy, so that you could see how bad it was here. And it's kind of like, at least I'm not down there. And that's when he says... Well, he says, there used to be a bridge here, as you can see, but that went years ago. Anyway, let's go back upstairs. And that's when he says, well, what's over there? Yeah.
Oh, so, yeah, his curiosity got the better of him. Yeah, I think he could have run and jumped.
That would have been my... Yeah.
Yeah. but because the walls around it
look so unclimbable.
Yeah, because they slope inwards, downwards. So...
they're all square stalactites, if you want to call it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, it'd be like trying to grip onto the bottom of a Lego structure.
Yes, exactly.
But he's like, no, I'm going to try and get around this and go to the bridge on the other side and go up the stairs.
Yeah. For a minute, I had a really dumb ass moment. I was like, well, why doesn't he go the other way? Because the lava waterfall.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so he just decides he's going to try and climb around the outside.
Yeah.
Which quite made me feel a bit anxious, like, oh.
Yeah, but again, this was a really weird moment because he's a really horrible person, right? I was wanting him to go to hell. I was like, you deserve to go to hell for what you've done. But Matt Dillon's quite charming, and I was like, he's still the protagonist. So
perfectly cast for it.
I kind of want him to get through.
Yeah.
But it could have gone either way for me. I would have been like, if he goes through and then it's still bad when he gets to the other side.
I just wanted to see what was going to be wherever he went. Because this last part was like such awesome ideas of what hell could be. But he doesn't make it.
Well,
he gets about halfway and loses his footing.
Yeah.
And I don't think
I think he actually gets over halfway, which is even better.
I think he gets in line with the waterfall because he looks back. And he goes, and he just cuts, hit the road, Jack. And then the credits roll and plays that song.
Yeah. No, it was so good, yeah.
Fucking awesome. Well, that was my 53 phrases of the house that Jack built.
Wow.